What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellowshow. We're talking fantasy hoops tonight. We're live in the fantastic living room here with John. We're going to have Drake join us later. John, how are we doing, my man?
Doing great, man. Doing great. How about yourself?
Doing fantastic. It feels like just yesterday we had our show, but I remember now that we did it on Thursday of last week. Now we're doing it on Tuesdays. We're going to try and get more consistent with the Tuesday shows. But it's good to be back in the cozy living room talking hoops with you. We'll have Drake join us, and I'm hoping Drake can join the living room too. But just off the top of the show here, I'm not sure where we're going to go tonight. We probably have some teams that we haven't covered in the last couple episodes. So we'll probably just kind of hop around. Maybe we poke at the standings a little bit and see what's shaking over there. But off the top of the show, we gotta talk TJ McConnell real quick. We were talking Pacers last week because of the Tyrese Halliburton injury, and there are a couple guys that you probably need to go check your waiver wires for. And the number one player here is going to be TJ McConnell. And here we go. We have Drake joining us live from the living room. How are we doing, sir?
Good. My laptop was dead, and I had to go grab an extension cord from the garage and run it the length of my basement. So
fantastic. We only went live for about a good minute or so no minutes restriction tonight for Drake. He's getting the full deal. And I just saw you drop the chair. Must have got into the correct position. But anyways, we're live from the living room here. Not really sure where we're going to go tonight with tonight's show. We're going to start with just looking at McConnell. He's a guy that we talked about last week on the show when we were dissecting the Pacers and who's going to get the majority of, Tyrese Halliburton leftovers. It's very clearly McConnell is going to be a guy for the next couple of weeks while he's out. 39 points, 37, 38, 56. Add him while you can. He's seen a big spike here. He's up to 14% rostered over the last 7 days. And then we'll shout out Andrew Nembhard as well. He's over 20 fantasy points. But just real quick on the Pacers, that'll cover it. Where do you guys want to go tonight? Should we just take a peek at the standings and kind of go from there?
Yeah, sounds good.
Alrighty. No Cavs game tonight, right? It's we just have a Bucks game, Bucks Raptors tonight.
Bucks back-to-back games.
Yeah, we need the NBA to stop scheduling back-to-backs. I get it. They're trying to cram 82 games in a few months.
This is a weird week. You have the Pistons and the Bulls who only play one game this week. I think they're playing internationally somewhere. And then the Raptors play 5 games and they play 2 back-to-backs. It's crazy.
Raptors have 5 games? I'm only seeing 4. Where are they? Oh yeah, down here 5. So they have 2 back-to-backs on the bookends here. So I strongly think that the NBA is weakening themselves with these back-to-backs, man. They're it's less watchable. I mean, I went to a Bucks game this year, and I didn't get to see Giannis or some of the other stars here, and it's kind of hurting, I think, the overall product here. So I would hope for less back-to-back.
I was going to comment about that from yesterday.
Yeah,
there was a lot of kids off of school going to that Bucks game to see Giannis, and then last minute he doesn't play.
And it's the 1:30 o'clock, That's a great time for people to get there on MLK Day.
Family today. You want to see. You're not there to see Drew Holiday.
And you talk about like what it costs to go to your average NBA game. Like, dude,
not cheap.
That's over a $500 experience, and for you not to see the stars because it's the second of a back-to-back, like F that. It's not right. Something needs to change, to say the least.
Well, and Giannis is out again today, so Giannis is missing four games in a row now.
Wow.
I assume it will end when they play their next game, which is in like 3 days or so, but who knows?
It doesn't create the best product for the fans.
So, what do we think of the Bucks here? I mean, they've dealt with the Middleton injury pretty much all season. Drew Holiday's been in and out. Giannis has missed more games than he's has in recent memory, and the fact that they're just hanging at the 3 seed, like it seems like they're just aloof. They're not really trying too hard, and they're going to get some reinforcements soon. So I think you like where the Bucks are sitting at. I don't know if John had any thoughts on that. When are we getting Middleton back?
I think Giannis and Middleton could both play in the next game, which I think is a couple days away. I think they have a little bit of a break after this back-to-back. They second night of a back-to-back tonight, and then I think they have a couple days off. So I think they play again maybe Thursday, or maybe Friday. And I think both Giannis and Chris could play in that next game, but Giannis way more likely than Chris, just because Chris has been out forever, and I'm not really. I can't ever. I'll believe it when I see it when he's on the court. I'll put it that way. So
it looks like he got recalled from the G League.
I saw that him and Beauchamp got assigned to the G League today or yesterday or some shit. I saw that. I think it was today.
Yeah. They don't play till the 21st again.
Yeah, so it's
Saturday.
Yeah, the schedule is so messed up.
Wow.
So yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yep.
Yeah, it's a weird week. So Giannis gets like 10 days of rest because of how the Bucks decided to give him a break, and Middleton maybe coming back as well for this Cavs game on Saturday.
Exciting. Drake, do we want to go over? I guess we talked with the Bucks here. Do we have anything that's brewing with the Cavs, or is everyone healthy? What's going on over there?
Not everyone's healthy yet, but I think the mainstays are. Still waiting for Dean Wade to come back.
Yep.
That's been a big piece. But other than that, yeah, I mean, Rubio's back, and they're starting to kind of continue their groove. I don't know if there's a whole lot to update on this team. You probably aren't starting Kevin Love much these days.
He's like a guy you pick up off the waiver wire for a game or two or something like that.
Yeah, he's not getting those more minutes because Allen and Mobley are back. So
it's nice to see that he's playing every game though. That's kind of the load management factor with that, is he's able to play every game. But
this is still a team that you can start
4 studs for fantasy.
Yeah.
Cool. So no updates there. I guess who haven't we maybe we should take a peek at the Knicks. I think we've covered pretty much most of the team in the East.
Yeah, Knicks
are climbing. And Barrett's back.
Yeah, Knicks and Magic maybe.
Before the show, because I remember we were kind of minutes focused last week. I just did a filter here. I'm going to do 2023 season. I just did a filter of total fantasy points, and look who's 5th. Julius Randle. He's not averaging an insane amount of points per game, but his durability and consistency is putting him as the 5th highest scorer in the league. So he's doing
after a down year too.
Yeah.
So that's good to see.
Kyle, can we look at that same thing filtered to like the last 7, like to see who's been scoring the most lately?
Sure. Let me hit that.
I bet Randall's even higher. Randall is fucking going apeshit right now.
I mean, Tatum, I put him on the cover of tonight's thumbnail, but he's been going off, and he remains the 5th highest scorer over the last 7 days. If we filter that to the last 15, that changes. That moves him to the number 1 player in the last 15 days. So the last 2 weeks, Julius Randle, he's been the MVP of fantasy the last 2 weeks. So very interesting, and that just points again to his durability and his consistency. The dude's just putting up almost 40 minutes a night, and just doubles galore. Fantastic. Where was he? Because we got him on a discount this year, right? So yeah. This is. If we're drafting today, probably
this was my boy for how many years, and then this year I was like, I'm done with Randall.
And I don't remember what the issue was last year. Maybe we were just kind of numb to he's a good player, but.
The issue is that he was kind of like got the contract to be the guy, and it just wasn't.
Elevate.
The whole Knicks just weren't happening last year.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and here's a big reason why it's different this year. If you get out of this, Brunson's on this list for the top 15 too. He's like in the top 10.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean they finally got another guy. You're not just feeding Randall. Randall's he's not going to create a point.
The team is really blowing up right now. They're on absolutely their best streak of the season, and
7-3.
Yeah, the 2 best players are going off. They're playing like top 10, top 5 players in the league.
Yep.
Didn't they get off to a really, really rough start to the year? Like they were like down in the bottom 2 or 3.
They kind of picked up where they left off last year.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this team's no good, but
I guess it took a while for Brunson to get settled in. But let me filter into the Knicks here. And let's just kind of look at their fantasy value. Of course, this one's all about Randall and Brunson. You can see the drop off in percent rostered here. But you just mentioned RJ Barrett. He was out for a significant amount of time, but it looks like he's back. Maybe a couple weeks he was out, but he's back into the swing of things, playing 4 straight games. It looks like RJ Barrett's kind of taken a step in the scoring department. It looks like he's scoring the ball a lot more consistently this year. Maybe that. How does Brunson come into this and help Randall and Barrett play better?
It's just a point guard, right? Like having a true one helps move the ball, facilitate the offense. I mean, Brunson might not have the craziest assist numbers, but he just gets the offense going a little bit, which I don't, that was a huge reason why they traded for him and then paid him big money, damn near, a very huge contract. So he's getting everyone going. But I think the funniest thing that was, we were just looking at RJ Barrett, only Tom Thibodeau, a dude comes back for being out for like a week or two, and Tom Thibodeau immediately plays you 40 minutes. I think that's just insane. Like
41 right off the bat.
Look at the points by the guys below Toppin.
Where?
It
right
starts dwindling. You got 9.8, then you're 13, 11 minutes, and then Cam Reddish doesn't even play basketball right now.
Yeah, what's up with that? Because he was like a significant trade last year. It looks like he hasn't touched the court for a long time. So
and he had some good moments earlier this season. So I think they've just kind of found a flow without him. But
they're playing 6 dudes heavy. Like they have 6 guys over 32 minutes. So they've clearly found how they want to use their rotation. And then, I mean, even Fournier not getting 13 minutes a game for Fournier.
This is Tom Thibodeau team right here. And
yep, exactly.
Then come playoff time, it's going to be dead.
So I guess the main part for fantasy, it's Randall Brunson and RJ Barrett. It does look like Mitchell Robinson's playing decently this year, almost 30 fantasy points per game. He's never been a consistent scorer, but you like the effort on the defensive side with the rebounds and the blocks. So that's kind of what you're getting here from him. He's never really taken that big step that we all were kind of hoping for. I think the last couple of years, he's just been kind of guy that sticks around 30 fantasy points, never really grew into like an all-pro or I guess an all-star type player. And then Emmanuel Quickly, has he entered the starting lineup or does he remain as like the 6th man for Brunson?
He was starting while
Barrett was out. Yep.
Barrett was out, I believe. The Bucks played the Knicks like last week, and I'm pretty sure Quickly started.
Okay, so Grimes does get the start. He doesn't get as many shot opportunities and Quickly comes in off the bench, and he's kind of that spark off the bench. So if there is one bench guy, it is Quickly. He's about 19% rostered. And then Quentin Grimes, only 5.7% rostered, though. He's averaging about 20 fantasy points on the year. So look at the minutes, too, for a guy.
I think he's a better basketball player than he is a fantasy player. But
I mean, if you're in a 12-man league, though, this is the guy you want.
Yeah,
guy you want on the end of your bench and within that rotation where you're picking up guys and whatnot. But
he's healthy. He plays games.
Yeah, the minutes are there.
The Thibodeau 6. If you're in a 12-man league or more, the Thibodeau 6, whoever's in Thibodeau's rotation is always getting minutes. So
whoever gets injured,
I'm just looking for.
He'll be replaced by the next guy. So you can pick them up.
No more Taj Gibson, so I think we're good to go.
Damn.
But Knicks is what happens, come playoff time? Is this a team that, arguably a 4, 5, 6 seed, somewhere in that range? They're going to end up with, the Bucks, Sixers, Cavs. It's going to be a pretty tough matchup. Do we think that they're in the trade market, or how do you make the Knicks better without adding players, essentially?
You don't?
Health. I think it all comes down to health. Like I think if the Knicks match up with a Buck like in round 1 or round 2 with the Bucks team that doesn't have Chris Middleton and everything else is pretty healthy for the Bucks, that Knicks team could theoretically compete and win that series. It would certainly make it grueling for the Bucks. If the Sixers are missing Harden or something, like same thing. I think the Knicks would be brutal. Like all 5 of the teams above the Knicks would absolutely beat them if everybody was healthy. But there's health questions for all 5 of these teams ahead of the Knicks. So Some are bigger than others, but I think the Knicks just want to fucking stay together, stay intact. I'm sure they will look to make a trade, but like year one with Brunson, I would just kind of see what the fuck you have. What's the chemistry? What's the output? And then retool and go from there if you need to going forward. But I kind of just think they've.
It's a good highlight by Kyle there.
Yeah, that's the one that stuck out. The 14-8 away, like that's. I mean, they're only 11-2 on at home, but that 14.
Look above them though. I mean,
yeah,
until you get to the Nets.
19-4 for the Cavs at home. That's impressive. Yeah, so the Nets have a really good away record, but the Knicks with that away record, that just seems like they're going to be a tough first draw in the the first round, and they're gonna put you to 6 or 7 games, and every game is going to be a physical, long dueling fight. So not an easy out, but we don't expect them to make a lot of noise. But they're not going to go down quietly.
I could see the Knicks being in that play-in.
Sure.
Game. I mean, right now you have the Heat and the Hawks are hot.
The Heat look like a team that's probably had the worst behind them, and everything's going to start to open up. I highlighted Victor Oladipo in the waiver wire show, and that I'm pissed. I should have grabbed him when he was available earlier in the season, but it looks like he's becoming kind of like his old self, like before pre-injury and stuff. So maybe we should take a peek at the Heat here, get a little peek at the
that's a good idea.
The potential plan, because we feel pretty confident that the top 5 teams here, barring major injuries, these guys are going to be in the playoffs. But the questions start to really get into this middle of the East. So let's take a peek at where are we? I can't.
How long is Halliburton out?
It said reevaluated in 2 weeks. So
that was a week ago.
The Pacers are going to start to fall.
That game against the Bucks last night, I mean, the Pacers put up 76 at halftime, and they were hitting threes left and right. And when everything's going right and you still can't win a game.
TJ McConnell career high.
Yeah, that it was just insane. He didn't miss a shot in the first half, which was pretty remarkable. He ended up hitting like 7 threes in the first half. Miami Heat, what are we looking at here? They have 3 dudes that are over 90% rostership. Victor Oladipo, only 26% rostered, and he's averaging 30 fantasy points per game over the last 15 days. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dudes over 20 fantasy points. Not sure what's up with Kyle Lowry. Anyone got an update on him?
I don't know, but I know Gabe Vincent is going ape. He's doing really great. He just as the Bucks gave up a career high to TJ McConnell, they've also gave up a career high to Vincent less than a week prior, and they did it to him twice in a row essentially. So so he gets his career high, and then 2 days later he gets his second best scoring game ever in his career.
Probably his best
fantasy games easily.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so he's a rotational guy that if you see a back-to-back or something, like he's going to play.
4% rostered, Kyle. You have to own this guy right now. As long as Lowry's out, it seems like you have to own him.
Well, he's got a big, almost a 4% spike of ownership here. But the big guy, though, is Oladipo. He's got a 26% ownership. If you're in a 10-man league, he might be hanging out there. But let's just look at these numbers. Like he's hitting the consistency here. 5 straight games over 30 fantasy points. Not sure why he missed this one game. It looks like it was the front end of a back-to-back, but since New Year's, this dude's been a top player in fantasy basketball, which is good to see because he's struggled the last couple of years to stay healthy and be relevant. But if this is what the Heat are going to get going forward, all of a sudden, like this team is going to be moving up the standings pretty quickly. Have either of you guys been able to catch any of the Heat games of late?
They played 2 games against the Bucks last week.
That's what I watched.
Did they win?
They won both.
They won them both.
Yeah.
Both. Okay, so like
Giannis missed them both, and the Heat won them both. And Gabe Vincent had his 2 best games of his entire life in both of those games.
Said, "This is my game."
So it's saying left knee discomfort for Kyle Lowry, but it's showing like he's been kind of in and out like a lot this year. So if you can grab a guy like Gabe Vincent, go ahead and Drake's got him. I don't know when you were able to pull the trigger on that, but it looks like he's going to be a nice player for you going forward. I'm just going to hit the minutes filter. They got a heavy rotation going all the way down to Caleb Martin, but it looks like
it's going to be tough when Lowry comes back to own a guy like Vincent. You also have
Right.
Duncan Robinson out, and Hero was out for some of that. So
what's going on with Duncan? Surgery, right index finger, expected to miss around 4 weeks, so he's not coming back till mid-February.
he sucked when he was in there, anyways.
He hasn't been
He's not the guy anymore.
Yeah, he hasn't been a fantasy threat. But anyways, John, how does this team fare going forward? Is this a team that we need to start paying attention to as they get healthier?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they made a finals run like 3 years ago. They might be adding, an all-star caliber player in Oladipo. That's if he can stay healthy, which is obviously a big if. But like he's playing, as we just looked at, like some of the best basketball he's played in the past 5 years, 4 years, whatever. So very encouraging. And even with that, I mean, if they don't have Oladipo, there's still a team that could go on a run in the playoffs. So if Oladipo can be something when it matters in April and May and June, that would be a really, really interesting team. I worry about like some of their interior size, but Jimmy and Bam just find a way to, be big and play up to whoever they need to. So, outside of some depth there, I think they have a really good roster. And like when they were playing the Bucks, there was a period where there was like 5 players who were undrafted in the game at once, on the court at once.
Wow.
And the Heat have literally, at least in that game, when they were missing they were missing Lowry and stuff, right? Because he was not counted for this, but there were like 10 guys on the Heat roster, or 9 guys on the Heat roster in both the Bucks games, or at least one of them, that were all undrafted. So it's just like this
Scrappy do.
very, very interesting, built from the bottom up, very good system. And I don't know, whoever's going to be playing minutes for this team is going to probably produce. It keeps happening. I mean, there's 3 guys on this list that I didn't really know 2-3 years ago, and they're all fantasy relevant this year between Highsmith, Vincent, and Strus. So
Strus he's been rock solid, man.
in Orlando, Robinson has looked okay the last couple games. I think he's like really young. He's like a young center, so he just needs to get a little stronger, I think.
High productive with his minutes, but I guess my biggest question with the Miami Heat is, why does Matt Bain own 4 of these guys? That is too many, Matt Bain.
Too many.
That is too many.
He's that Bengals Heat fan,
Yeah.
That Bengals Heat fan that everybody has in their life.
Matt Bain's probably got a LeBron jersey.
If we're being fair, how many Cavs do I own?
3?
3.
3?
I had 4 for a couple of weeks.
Well, it looks like he's got the 4. He picked up Strus because of maybe Kyle Lowry.
I mean, Strus is a good pickup.
Yeah. Strus has been kind of bounced around in our league. Look at that action.
He hasn't bounced. Yeah, he's 6.
That's incredible. That's pretty good, dude. That's pretty good. That's really good.
Matt Bain, what was his team name last week? Now it's Boats and Horford. The dude just needs to find something and stick with it. So,
does he even have Horford on his team?
Doesn't need him, I guess, apparently. But then I want to say, do you guys remember the run that this man was on last year, Omer Yurtseven?
Yes.
Is he like get hurt, or
I don't know if he's playing.
He was a beast. He was putting up like 50 points for fantasy for a month, and then
Caleb Martin had that weird run last year too.
I think
it's Haywood. I think it's Haywood Highsmith for them this year. They have they have 1 or 2 guys who come out of absolutely nowhere. Okay. This guy has had some huge games this year.
Interesting.
It's a great system,
huge, but
I mean,
so they have depth. It's not like brand name depth, but they do.
Bam Adebayo is your best player. I mean, and it's really hard to build around a center power forward. But that's where they're at right now.
Has Jimmy Butler been a disappointment for fantasy this season? I'm trying to see where he was drafted. He was drafted 4th round overall. I guess maybe not. I thought he was maybe more of a 2nd rounder, but 43.
I think he's doing just fine.
Yeah,
he's doing fine, and he plays so many games as long as he's relatively healthy. He's not one of those guys who sits out. So,
he's just those are Jimmy games. I mean, he's not gonna put up 60.
So the Heat are.
Yeah. He's going to string together like 3 months of 30-point games.
Mm-hmm.
With a couple 50s in there.
This team has not been shy around the trade deadline, so I would be expecting them to be a player, especially. I mean, I don't know who they have to sell or who they're willing to get rid of. It's like they acquired Kyle Lowry, like 2 years ago before the trade deadline, right?
Was Lowry off season? I believe Lowry was off season.
Yeah.
They're expected to be extremely active.
Yeah.
Deadline.
They have to be they have to have one of the better cap situations of any team. I mean, I know Hero and Duncan and Bam and Jimmy and probably Lowry to some extent are getting huge money to pretty huge money, but the rest of their roster is making nothing.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. That's a team to definitely watch. So we talked about the Pacers last week. What's going on with the Atlanta Hawks? It feels like they're kind of just stuck in neutral.
They're on a 3-game win streak.
Yeah, they've had. It seems like they've had some injuries earlier in the season. Let's just take a look at the Hawks.
Trae Young is shooting like he's having his worst shooting year, I'm pretty sure.
Do you think DeJounte Murray has kind of helped, or is this team just? I don't know.
No, Murray's been great.
Yeah,
Murray's done everything he should. It might just be more balanced. I mean, last year Young was bringing up the ball, and he got to decide where it went.
Yeah. So I mean, you got DeJounte Murray, Trae Young. Those are the 99% guys that we roster here. Clint Capella, maybe not as effective as we were hoping for. He had that nice run not so long ago, and John Collins is kind of taking a back seat with the addition of Capella. But what do you know about Okongwu? This guy, he's been tripping my sensors on the waiver wire show. This is a guy that he's super productive, gets a ton of minutes, kind of a walking double-double most nights here, and he's really active in the blocking department. You see the 67-point game here. Is he a second-year player?
He's young as hell. I know.
He's either second or third.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, he's very young. He gave the Bucks some trouble.
7-9, and
he played at USC, right?
I'm not sure, but he was a top 10 pick.
I think he's in his third year.
He was he was damn near a top 5 pick, but he was a top 10 pick for sure.
Yeah, USC pick number 6. So 2020. This is his third season.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's definitely putting a thorn into like John Collins, and he's capping their ceilings right now because he's getting so much time. I just want to see what
Collins is a great buy low candidate right now because he's getting traded. It's the worst kept secret.
Did he not?
They tried to trade him in the offseason. Now they're trading.
They didn't pay him, did they?
Yeah, he got paid.
Okay. But yeah,
he's going to get paid, and now he's going to get traded.
Interesting. So they bring Capella off.
Got that money to buy a new house.
Somebody else needs to take this money.
So they're bringing Capella off the bench. I did not know that. So Okongwu is in the starting lineup next to John Collins. That would, I guess you could argue Capella is a buy low candidate as well, because that could free up a lot of options. I just want to look at the percent rostership real quick. Okongwu at about, I don't know how he's only 22% rostered. Dude's averaging 34 fantasy points per game the last 15 days. And then Capella, you can see he's starting to be dropped in some of your bigger leagues. So only 74.4% rostered. So keep an eye on Capella, John Collins. Both those guys are kind of losing rostership. And then I think we're all fans of DeAndre Hunter, right? I think he had a rough injury that he battled back from, and it's looking like now the minutes are there, and it's the fantasy points there. He's kind of had a rough game with the 15, but this is a guy 20% rostered. If you can find a way to sneak him onto a 10 or 12 man roster, please do so. But I don't know, guys. Any other thoughts on Atlanta? Is this a team that? I mean, we know they can get hot. You mentioned Trae Young not hitting his shots, but this is a team it's super young. They can play super fast as well. I'm not counting them out, I guess, to make a run and maybe get into the top 5 or 6 seeds. What do you guys think?
I think they're destined for the play-in.
Yeah.
But as a Cavs fan, I know I don't want to play them in the play-in.
Well, it seems like there are like 5 teams, maybe 6 in the East that are going to avoid the play-in.
Yeah.
It's the top 5 seeds in the Heat, and then you have the Knicks, the Hawks, and maybe even the Bulls if they can kind of screw their heads on. Like,
we should probably talk the Bulls next, huh?
yeah, Bulls have been having some interesting performers lately.
So I'm trying to think. We haven't we covered.
Should we smack the West a little?
Yeah, let's. I guess. Do you think just real quick we can move to the West? But what's going on with the Bulls? Why are they underachieving this year?
Lonzo's out. That was a huge thing. Big part of that team. Outside of that, DeMar's still being DeMar.
Mm-hmm.
He's should be an all-star this year. Vu is, getting older. He's the center, so you have that.
Besides this last week, Vucevic has underperformed a lot.
Yeah, and Levine's probably not that guy. He's good.
I don't know if there's any ceiling left to a guy like Levine.
Right.
And Kobe White never really took that next step. After the top three guys, you have just a bunch of guys at that point. So they're lacking depth. Lonzo, they've been really wishy-washy on like what he's going through. I don't know if he's going to be even playing at any point this spring. So he might be a 2020.
I don't think
he's working out. The Bulls just released a video of him working out and dunking, and he's not practicing yet, but he's working out, and they're showing him work out. So I think he could play this season, but it seems also signs point to me to say no basketball this season, come back next year. That seems like the most reasonable thing to do, but I think he could theoretically maybe play like after the All-Star break.
Okay.
But would you want to, is the question. Is it worth it, especially with how shitty the Bulls are? I would say probably not.
Right. So not much to play for there. But yeah, we did a good, I guess it's these top 9 teams. I don't think we're going to expect much from the Raptors, the Wizards. These guys probably aren't making a run, but it's definitely the Knicks, Heat, Pacers, Hawks. Those are the teams to keep an eye on in the East. But then what are we interested in the West? I don't know too much about the Western Conference.
Look on the Jazz.
The Utah. You want to go to their players?
Yeah.
All right, Utah Jazz. Let's see, Utah. All right, so Markkanen's just been a revelation this season. Jordan Clarkson. I don't know how, like, this team's such a weird motley crew of players. To Mike Conley, to Beasley, Olynyk. Did you see what Kessler's been doing the last, like, since I think we talked about the Jazz a couple nights ago.
Yeah.
But dude puts up a 59, a 50.
Yeah, he's got a 50.
A 20-point rebound game. Look at the blocks are there.
7 blocks. Wow. He's special, dude. He's a big piece for them.
Yeah.
Literally and figuratively.
Second round pick, too.
Yeah, right. I don't remember him being or certainly not a lottery pick. I just don't remember him being drafted that high. Yeah, there we go.
He played for Kansas.
He was a North Carolina Tiger and an Auburn Tiger. Pick 22.
22.
First round pick.
But he was a late first. What's the difference between 22 and 35?
There isn't in the NBA.
Money.
Yeah, they're all the same.
But he's been playing good. Is this team?
That's the Kansas guy right there.
Yeah, that was the ex-Cav.
I think this team is going to be a player probably at the trade deadline.
They're actually the team that I've seen the most connected with John Collins and then moving Malik Beasley.
Well, what is John like? Unless you're getting picks, what does John Collins do for this team? They already have Markkanen. Markkanen plays the same position. Why?
Markkanen does not play the way Collins plays, though. Markkanen's a stretch for
he plays more like Vanderbilt.
Yeah. So I think Collins.
But if you have Kessler and Markkanen, do you really need another big right now? Like, especially I don't know.
But you play Markkanen at the 3.
Is that what the Jazz really want to do?
That's what the Cavs did last year.
Here's their starting.
But Markkanen's having a breakout season as a 4.
He can play anywhere. He's gonna still get a shoot. I mean, this team's not a playoff team. Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point.
I guess I'm just like the Jazz already have every pick for the next 5 years.
I think they're just trying to collect young talent.
Like what they can build whatever roster they want. where does John Collins fit into that in my mind? In my mind, it's like it makes no sense because I feel like you're right. Markkanen and Collins bring totally different skills to the table. And Collins brings a lot of value to any team he's on. But I just feel like
this moves Markkanen into the 3 then.
Yep.
And
Markkanen would play the 3.
that's a huge.
And you get rid of
I
Beasley.
just don't love that.
Mismatch.
I just don't like slower guys at the 3. And Markkanen's not ridiculously slow, but I want to see speed in the NBA. And most teams go that route. So I feel like Markkanen at the 3 is tough.
I feel like they're gonna just collect talent any way they can, young talent.
Is John Collins talent you want to collect though?
He's a 7-footer. Yeah.
Yeah.
7-freaking-footer. Playing a 3, I get John's argument.
He played the 3 last year, all year.
Yeah, it seems like the Bulls primarily used him as a 3 as well.
Yeah. He's a shooter.
The Bulls drafted him as a 4 and used him primarily for most of his career at a 4, but they played him at the 3 and the 5 a lot as well.
So he's a weird piece to the puzzle. I don't know how John Collins fits on this team. It's clear that this team has a lot of work to do. So I don't think it matters if John Collins fits on this team because nobody fits on this team. You know, that's kind of how it works. Pieces to keep though.
You could argue that they're best 2 pieces to build around, or even 3 are all ex-Cavs. I mean, you have Markkanen and you have Sexton, and you have I don't know how good Ochi is going to be, but yeah, I mean they can easily move Jordan Clarkson. He's an older scoring guard that a contender is going to want. They're going to move Conley. So
interesting. So I
mean, Beasley's also been rumored and all that.
Beasley's a piece of every trade, isn't he?
Yeah.
So
that guy.
I'm not sure what draft picks they hold. Do they hold multiple firsts this year?
Yeah, they have their own.
What did the Cavs give up for Mitchell, Drake?
They gave up their first. I don't know if is it this year?
It doesn't even matter. How many firsts do you think?
3 firsts.
And they got 3
multiple
firsts from Rudy
seconds
Gobert as well, by the way. So they got
they got a really good deal.
Firsts from different teams coming up, and they probably have all their own picks as well.
I don't think the Cavs picks start to like 2026.
So this year they're gonna have Brooklyn's. They're gonna have
Royce O'Neal deal. The Royce O'Neal deal.
Danny Ainge is just living life to the fullest right there in Utah. I mean, he's loving it.
They have Minnesota's this year, and Minnesota might end up in.
They don't have the Cavs yet.
Minnesota.
And then here's a bunch of incoming. I don't know what's going on here. How to read this?
Swaps. They have a bunch of swaps. Yeah. Look at those. So there's some swaps that send certain things to Utah. So they might even get a random other one via a trade or a swap that happens.
Yeah.
All right, so this is a team that I've even heard Markkanen could be moved. Depends on if they want to pay him, but I don't know.
I don't know. He's under contract for next year. The Cavs gave him a 3-year contract, so.
But it's probably a pretty friendly contract too.
Yeah, it's a nice contract.
He's more than outperformed it, so definitely a team that we probably expect to move down the rankings here. I guess as far as we're looking at the play-in games, is there a team here that you guys think we should be talking about as
look at the Clippers
move into the top 6? We haven't talked about the Clippers yet, so that's a good one.
Clippers are a little healthier. I mean, I know Wall is out, but like George and Kawhi are playing right now.
Yep.
They're another team that's been rumored to go get Conley.
Okay. Yeah, they don't really have a true number 1 point guard, do they? I guess Wall
when he's healthy, but they're being very cautious with Wall and Reggie. Yeah, they got Reggie still.
They also do not have a backup. I mean, really, they have one pink guy.
Yeah, they're
right?
They're weak in center and point guard, and who knows?
This is the team full of wings here.
Actually, Terrence Mann is playing point guard tonight. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Mann's been a fun pickup. If he's out there, snag him for a couple games.
They are a back-to-back today. I mean, starting today and tomorrow. So, and he's going to play both ends if he's healthy. So,
what's going on with Paul George? He's
out right now.
So he's going to play tonight, though.
He's playing tonight. He's back tonight.
And look at Kawhi. It's like his minutes have really ramped up.
Let's see. So it looks
but he's
like
such a inconsistent. There could be just any given night that he's just not going to play that much.
Yeah. But lately,
got the best job in basketball.
Nice to see 4 straight games in a row, especially with that minute workload too. Points are up. Everything else is looking really strong here.
So this is funny. This is not just fantasy related, but I was listening to I think it was on Sirius. I always listen to the fantasy or the basketball with Brian Scalabrine. And they were talking about, it was out there, some caller, ridiculous, was talking about how unfair it is that the Clippers can rest their 2 stars and then just unleash them on the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were saying that you should have a minimum minutes per game so you can play in the playoffs.
Interesting.
Completely ridiculous, but I mean, good for them. They should be able to do that.
A funny theory or a funny concept that would actually be kind of cool, but just not. But
feasible. Just not applicable. It's just never going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, when you have Kawhi and Paul George, honestly, I mean, obviously, it is the era we're in where players are getting arrested more now than ever before. But when you have Kawhi and Paul George, it makes sense to a degree, and you can win games without both of them somehow. I don't understand.
Or you can lose.
Ty Lue is a really, I think we knew this from his short time in Cleveland, but he's a pretty solid coach.
I mean, they're 1 game above 500. I don't think they care what seed they are.
No, they just
want to. They're in.
I think the Warriors could slide into the top 3. Zion's out. The Nuggets and the Grizzlies are a little too healthy.
I mean, they're 2 games away from the Kings.
Yeah. I think the Warriors could slide into the 4 or the 3 spot.
What are the Grizz doing on that 10-game streak here?
Jaren Jackson is playing out of his mind defensively, and John Morant is very good, and Bane is back as well.
Cavs and Grizz play tomorrow night.
How do we explain this, guys? Kings, somehow this was I think the first show we did. We're like, how are the Kings leading the West in points? It seems like they have increased their points per game total since we
Sabonis and Fox, dude. They work really well together, and they have a really nice supporting cast.
Are points down this year?
It seems like it. Yeah, I thought. Well, it looks like not in the West. You got 117s galore.
I think the East has more defensive focused teams though too.
I mean, even the Lakers down here are putting up 117. That's impressive for a team that's only.
Yeah, they're just giving up more than that.
But the West is fine. Are the Kings like a team that can maybe steal a game?
So on average, the Kings are winning by 3 points a game. I mean, do you want to play the Kings?
No.
I don't want to play the Kings.
No.
You don't want to play a team that leads the league in scoring.
I don't want to be playing at Sacramento. That game starts at fucking 10 o'clock at night.
Right. I'm just looking up here.
My boys are tired by then.
So up in the East, only 1 team averages more than 117 points per game. So this is clearly different styles of basketball.
Yeah, look at this. I mean,
only the Celtics
112.
Yeah, that's
Philly 113. Cavs 111.
Yeah,
but look at their defensive ratings. It's different. It's crazy how those conferences have separated themselves.
Definitely a different style of hooping.
But if you think about it, like we just said it, there are better defensive teams in the East. You have the Celtics, who were the best defensive team last year. You have the Cavs, who have a bunch of amazing defensive players. You have the Bucks, who have the same thing, a bunch of amazing defensive players. You have the Heat,
76ers,
the 76ers, who are they're over
defensive pieces.
Yeah, Embiid helps a lot.
Yeah,
having a giant center is helpful, and
the Mavs are kind of sad.
Even like their shitty teams, like the Raptors, are like a really tough defense.
Look at the point differential for the Mavericks. They're the Minnesota Vikings of the NBA. Just hanging by a thread.
Yeah, and the Detroit Lions are the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Spoilers.
Interesting.
My team lost 2 games to them, just like in the NFL. Damn.
Is Carl Anthony Towns back yet?
No.
Cat did play it, didn't he?
Oh, did he? I thought he was
I
still
thought
out.
he played against the Cavs.
Like just a day ago?
No, he didn't play.
So this is
Anthony
update
Edwards
on.
went off.
This is from January 7th. He's
Weeks
catching
away.
weeks away, so maybe not till after
Wow.
All-Star break. But hey,
What's his injury?
Something bad.
Calf strain.
End of November. So he's missed all of December.
How strained is it?
The initial timeline was 4 to 6 weeks, so he's well over that now. So
It's all
Does he have a masseuse?
probably going to push that into February.
Unprotected first-round pick goes
Call
to,
Watson.
But hey,
Dang.
Timberwolves
Calf
are
strain? This is NBA injuries, guys. A calf strain.
not even a tear.
John has a calf strain right now.
Absolutely.
He's doing just fine.
It's tough. It's tough podcasting.
Not even a tear. But anyways, guys, we got about 5 minutes left in the show. I want to open up the floor to you guys. Drake, do you want to pick a team to jump into and look at? Do you want to? The floor is yours.
Let the Rockets, because
let's go.
England just put up 70 freaking points on me last night in honor of Martin Luther King Jr.
Sengun.
Yeah.
No,
what the heck?
Oh no!
Look at this guy.
70 on MLK Day. That's just
he's the only one keeping Michael alive.
33, 15, 6, and 4 blocks. Oh my goodness. He looks like a really good player though.
And he has been like by multiple players in the league. Who I forget who it was. A star player that had just played Houston said last week, he said, you know, Kevin Porter and Jalen Green are really good, but this guy is the guy you build around.
Yeah.
Like, he is just a really good basketball. But he played professional basketball before coming into the league. He was over in Israel, and I always liked him coming out. But this dude's hot. He's
a 5-category player. He's a 5-star man.
He's a 5-star man.
So
he would block Dennis Reynolds into oblivion.
He would send him into the show now.
I mean, the Rockets have 3 players that you probably want to play.
So he's a second-year player or third-year player?
He's just a second-year player. He was picked last year.
Okay.
You have Kevin Porter Jr., you have him, and you have Jalen Green.
He's 20 years old.
Wow. What is Jabari Smith doing this year, Hef?
He's amazing. He's really, really up and down, as you'd expect, but when he's up, he's so good.
It looks like Smith is settling into some consistency.
He's very up and down. He has some major lows, but he's got some kaboom in him. He's going to be really good. Another 5-star man, mind you. He's a guy.
His team's going to be good.
He can fill it up from all stat categories.
And by the way, Boban was driving the team bus yesterday.
No way.
I don't know if you guys saw that, but
I did not know. That's amazing.
Yeah. So they have the best cheerleader in the league.
Wow. I do want to shout out too, if you guys are needing someone to pick up, Eric Gordon. I was able to snag him. Super productive of late here. Hitting 30 minutes the last few nights. Scoring, he's hitting double digits almost consistently. He's going to get you assists. He's going to get a couple of rebounds. But I like this, especially in a 12-man league.
He's starting for them. I think he's an official tank commander.
Yeah, so he is the floor tank general.
I think I've had him multiple times this year.
I think so. But yeah,
I don't know if John's had him yet, but
sliding in here to the starting lineup right now, I can't complain.
Is Jalen Green still out?
No, he was playing last night. 23 points, 7 for 20 from the floor, 3 for 10 from the 3.
God, he just shoots so many threes.
Aiden's saying Tari Eason here is a guy to watch. Looks like his minutes, 20 the last couple nights. He's going to be inconsistent as hell, but I do like that he's touching like a couple games. He's getting 5 categories per game, so that's
productive when he's getting those minutes. So look at his 20-minute games.
So like one of our favorite things, like I think this is our 3rd year doing this show, and we always talk about these nasty, dirty teams that are just going to give they're going to give the kids time after the All-Star break, and this is definitely one that we could maybe see getting more minutes going forward. So it's a fun
Absolutely.
fun team to keep an eye on. John, any thoughts on the Rockets before we move on to your final thoughts?
No, I'm just glad we said something about Jabari Smith Jr. And LeBron. And this is actually a good segue because Jabari Smith Jr.'s dad, Jabari Smith Sr., surprise, surprise, that's his name, played against, he was on the Kings the year LeBron was a rookie. And in LeBron's rookie debut, they played the Kings. So Jabari Smith's dad played LeBron in his debut. And the team I wanted to talk about was the Lakers.
Okay.
And Lakers Rockets played each other last night. And LeBron dapped it up with Jabari Smith Jr. and Jabari Smith Sr. And it was just kind of the reason I wanted to talk about the Lakers is because LeBron is absolutely on a tear right now. I mean, there's no other way to say it. He's one of the best players in basketball again, like he's always been. And he just crossed the 38,000 point threshold a couple days ago. I mean, he's within a couple weeks probably going to have the NBA scoring title or scoring belt. So I think it's.
Why did this dude sign an extension?
When did LeBron sign?
No, why?
I don't know. Money.
The money was there anywhere. It just blows my mind because this team is awful. They have no future. They have no picks.
I think he likes being in LA, though. I mean, his family
thing.
His family likes being in LA. Yeah. I think he makes a little more money on the side because of LA.
But what if you're in Cleveland? Like, beautiful this time of year. No,
better basketball.
I'm part of the minority that does not want. I don't want LeBron back. But he's on a championship team if he joins it. But LeBron's not going anywhere.
I think
Why not Milwaukee? Why not Milwaukee? We could trade Chris Middleton for LeBron. Everybody would be happy.
I think at this point, LeBron's made his bet.
He's
there's Miller Lite here. He might be a Miller Lite guy. Yeah,
LeBron has a seventh prime though. LeBron has one more prime in the chamber. He's got.
LeBron loves wine, and everyone knows that wine country is in Cleveland, Ohio.
Is Russell Westbrook getting moved before the trade deadline?
You can't move him. And actually, he's been really productive for this. He's a good
player. You know what's pretty close to wine country? Sacramento. Holy fuck. LeBron's going up to the king. The king on the Kings. The king on the Kings. It writes itself, dude. It makes so much sense.
That would be LeBron's first major injury of his career. The first game he plays for the Kings.
I didn't mean to laugh at that. That was funny. But
that's how the Kings go.
What are your... What is your assessment?
He survived the Cavs. If he can survive the Cavs, he can survive anyone, dude.
That's true.
But John, what is your assessment here of the Lakers? You said you were able to watch them the other night.
Yeah, my assessment is LeBron, mic drop. That's it. He's incredible. We just looked at it. They have one of the worst records in the league. And a bottom 10 record, and they're scoring 117 points on offense. And LeBron is dragging this offense without Anthony Davis because he's hurt. He's dragging this team, dragging this offense, kicking and screaming to being one of the top 5 offenses in the league. I'm really impressed with LeBron. I mean, he's always been able to drag shitty teams to overperform, but he's doing it again. And if they could just figure out a little bit of defense to make it a little, help him a little bit on the defensive end. And they have players who theoretically should be able to. I mean, Westbrook's a good defender. Beverly's a good defender. I guess they don't really have a lot of great interior defense without Anthony, but
this is down there with like LeBron's early career game. And even like the end with the Cavs where they traded for Shaq at the age of 47.
Yeah.
And thought he would win him a champion. Like, it's a pretty bad roster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of the worst he's had ever. Without Anthony Davis makes it so much better. But
LeBron James, he's not going to get the consideration. Is he the MVP? Like this dude is just dragging.
He's dragging a shitty team. He's the only one really dragging a shitty team. There's no one else really doing that.
Westbrook's coming off the bench, and he's doing excellent coming off the bench. But yeah, Austin Reeves.
Austin Reeves is getting a lot of NBA All-Star votes. I know LA, like the Lakers have way more like fans than a lot of teams, but like that tells you everything you need to know about LeBron's supporting cast.
Yeah, I mean, isn't St. Thomas Bryant was like a big
Lonnie
pickup for this
Walker is a
team.
good piece. He's been out for a while too. I think he does help them. So maybe getting Davis and Lonnie Walker back, maybe that's enough to make them into the play-in game.
How long
they're
do you
so
get
close.
Davis back, though? I mean, how long do you get Davis back for?
Right.
I think the teams you can write off
I'll give you a month.
Go back to the standings here. You can write off the Trailblazers. They're selling. I mean, they'll keep Dame, but outside of that,
Suns are on a 1-9 streak.
Oklahoma City's gone.
I don't know,
Suns
dude.
are on a
Oklahoma
bender.
City is doing fine. Oklahoma City is tough.
Yeah, but they're not going to be in the play-in. They don't care about being in the play-in.
I think the Wolves are gone.
I've watched my team struggle against the Wolves twice.
Without Cat.
Yeah, it's.
I just think they're doomed.
They could be. The Jazz are gone, so really only 1 through 7 are probably.
The Suns and the Lakers.
This is easy for the Lakers and the Suns to get in.
Yeah.
Okay.
In San Antonio, I don't know if they know that they exist anymore.
No, they're
San Antonio and Rockets are out.
Yeah, they're just coasting. But I'm super curious on what's going on with the Suns. I know they're waiting for some guys to get healthier, but
is it just Chris Paul though?
They're 1-9.
Paul is playing right now.
Yeah.
Is it Booker? So it's just Booker.
It's just Booker and Cameron Johnson.
And Cam Johnson, Booker, and Jay Crowder hasn't played a minute all year.
Well, Jay Crowder is not playing for
and
this
Paul
team.
is out again. Okay.
Yeah. Paul's been out a while, I thought.
Yeah, I thought he came back, but you're right. He's out.
He did come back. He's been out since the 8th.
Yeah.
So is Landry Shamet back into the fantasy mold here? Who's there?
Yeah, this is a good team to look at. Like, who can we poach?
Here, let me hit last 7 days.
I've played with Landry a little.
I've played
Michael
with
Bridges was a great draft pick.
Dario Saric, Torrey Craig. These are the junk piles that need to be added. Damian Lee. I guess it's Damian Lee, but Paley's already got him, it looks like here.
I dabbled with Damian, with Jock Longdale, and with
Saban Lee getting some minutes here last night.
That's a made-up name.
He was with the Pistons, I think, right?
Yep.
He's been a productive player. Yeah.
Saban Lee is it's like an auto-generated like rookie.
Booker, all 4 of those guys were huge. All 5 of those guys were huge in there.
Those were their 7, that was their 7-8-man rotation. Right
Crowder was told not to come to the building.
Yeah.
And they still haven't traded him.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting.
And for a team that is struggling for wings, it's very odd.
Josh Okogie's been a good wing player for them in spurts this year. It's hard to predict his minutes. When he gets the minutes, he's been a productive fantasy player.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise it's Mikal Bridges' show. DeAndre Ayton's been a bust. Hasn't been playing well, but I think it's just a product of everybody else not being
He's a center.
there.
He needs Booker.
He needs his buddies.
He's not creating.
But I don't know, guys. Aiden says, what's going on with Giannis real quick?
I think he's going to play in his next game on Saturday, but they've just given him an elongated break. I don't think it's anything too serious. I think they just gave him a little rest.
Yeah, I think you hit that, John. Like you kind of laid it out where he could get a 10-day rest. So, I mean, smack that. The children hated it. But,
he misses 2 Miami games and 2 back-to-backs, which include a Toronto game. Toronto and Miami are the teams that play Giannis the toughest, in my opinion. And so,
really giving him a load.
Getting Giannis a quick 10-day rest in the middle of the season and avoiding some of his toughest opponents physically. I think Coach Budenholzer and the staff were just like, this is maybe a good opportunity for a guy who's struggling a little bit right now for his standards offensively. Maybe we just give him a little bit of a rest. Don't let him take as much of a beating. And then let's ride him until the All-Star break. Offense runs through him, and we'll see what, hopefully he can get back to his ways.
Bucks are going to be a fun team to watch after the All-Star break. Hopefully they can get Middleton in before that a little bit, get him get his wind underneath him before the All-Star break, and then it's guns a-blazing. But we're going to get out of here for tonight. Any final thoughts, Drake?
No, happy to join late, but
missed a minute. It was not bad. No minutes restriction tonight.
I missed tip-off. I had the wrong jersey on. So. But yeah, it's always fun talking basketball. I look forward to it next week, guys.
We'll be back next Tuesday. John, any final thoughts before we get out of here? We'll let you get back to your Bucks Raptors. Probably just coming back from halftime.
It just went into half. Yeah.
Into half.
74-67 at the half. Toronto's up. But
No.
my final thoughts were going to be vote for Drew Holiday for All-Star. He should be an All-Star. So that's my final thought.
Alrighty, that's going to do it for us tonight, guys. Coming from the beautiful living room. We'll be back next Tuesday, probably the same time. Thank you guys for your time. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Like, comment, all that good stuff, and take it easy. Peace.